from where or when you're watching this show from. My name is Denise Belil, and I'm a serenity expert. And welcome to the It's All Good show. Look who's here for a chat. As always, I have amazing guests coming to the show today, and her name is Andrea Gewirtz, and you'll know more about her in a few seconds. But before we get started, I want to invite you to follow me into, let me hear, no, not this one, haha, this one. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/ at Denise Bilil. And when you go there, you'll have all my previous shows that I've done. I think today is, I don't know, it's 120 something. I'm in the 120 right now episodes that I've been doing every Monday. And I'm happy that you're here today. And if you missed a few, it's possible, you can go to my YouTube channel. And I'm always looking for guests or people that after the show, if you're interested about what I say, you want to know more about me, you can book a call with me at tiny.cc/talk with Denise. So I invite you to join me so that we can have a chat. Maybe you can be on the show. It's all open. So my guest today is Andrea Gewirtz, as I said, and she's a certified functional nutrition counselor, aka Thrive Strategist. So I'm so excited to have her here. We just had a little chat pre-show, and she's in great spirit, and I think we'll have a lot of fun today. She's in the background. I see her right there laughing. And let's welcome her without any delay. Welcome, Andrea. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you, Denise. It's great to be here. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year to you too. And if there's anything you can be sure with Andrea is laughing. I know every time I see her, she's always laughing her head off because hey, it's all good, right? Like whatever happened in your life, life is good and may as well laugh about it. Whether it's good or bad in the eyes of others, there's something positive in every situation. So that's why the show is called It's All Good.
I love the
And
title, by the way. I love the
thank
title.
you.
I've loved this ever since you brought it up. I loved it. So it's
Wonderful. So, Andrea, welcome.
thank you.
And I'm so happy to have you here today. And according to what we chatted just before we went live, you were talking about your new discoveries. But before we go there, like tell me a little bit, like certified functional nutrition counselor,
Yeah.
aka Thrive Strategist, and tell us a little bit who you are
Okay.
and what led you to initially do that. And then we'll talk about what's leading you into perhaps your new little venture. So we'll start with what led
Hi,
you into that.
why am I on your show?
Yeah, why
Well,
are you here?
so I have had I was just thinking about this morning at the beginning of the year, like reflecting back on my life. And I've done many things. I used to sing opera. I worked for NPR. I did all kinds of things. Then I became a mother. And I had children who had terrible allergies.
Mm,
And my second child had some developmental issues. And I was really good at food allergy, but I was like, this kid, I didn't know how to engineer my way, quote unquote, to a solution. So I got really even more invested in understanding nutrition as
hmm.
a way to, you know, make my children whole.
Of
And it
course, of
opened up
course.
this huge world for me of not just my children, but us all, like humans in general. And
Yeah.
so, if anyone knows me, if I'm like, I don't know about that, I will go like a little terrier down the rabbit hole. And I ended up in functional nutrition school. And now I can say I'm a certified functional nutritionist as opposed to, the armchair quarterback. Don't eat this, don't do that. I actually can now tell you why. And,
Yes, yes.
and actually safely guide you through whatever transformation you need to
Yeah.
seek in your body. So that's why I call it Thrive Strategy, because I'm so sick of people going, eat this, do that. And you know what? Everyone out there, you need a unique code for your health. Each of
Hmm.
my children needed a unique way to
Yeah.
approach their stuff. Excuse me. And so, hence the Thrive Strategist part. And I have a company called Wellbeing and Worth, and I curate people's ability to know thyself, to be their best self, to really
Hmm.
increase their well being and their worth, be it self worth, financial worth, it doesn't matter. Well being and worth go so hand in hand. And so it's very near and dear to me, the name of the company. And so, I put my little flag out. Shingle. And I worked with people and I was like, it's all about your liver. And it is all about your liver and your gut, right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, anything I'm going to tell you to do is going to have to either help your gut be better and help
Yep.
your liver be better.
Yep.
But what I learned though in the last 2 or 3 years was that that's true. But if you're a woman over 40, we have some other things we better talk about. A lot of other things. And so I was doing a lot of group coaching and I had this cute class. It was a detox, a reset. And everyone was like, oh, I don't have hot flashes anymore. I'm like, oh, that's great. But your liver's doing great, you know? And I'm like, not listening to,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, I don't have hot flashes anymore. And I feel calmer. And I was like, all of these things I'm attributing to the liver. But these were over 40. And when I looked back, and then it began my own journey into the world of menopause, which we're now
Welcome to the
segueing,
woman's world.
right? I was confronted with the testimonials that I didn't hear because I didn't have a frame of reference known as
Yeah.
menopause. And I was like, oh, so everything I was doing was helping. And some people had great results, others had good results, and some had, adequate results. What I learned with my own experience as I went through the 3 phases of menopause was that you need a whole different set of skills potentially in each of those 3 phases.
Yeah.
And what I also learned was that women have no idea about menopause. And so that now we're getting to the juicy part, kids. If you're listening backstage, we're talking about who have I become now. So now that I've
Now
mostly
that
gone,
you've experienced
now that
menopause.
I have experienced the pause, as I like to say, and really understand how no one understood to tell me where I was in my female life journey
Hmm.
a decade ago, a lot of the angst, suffering, miscommunication, feelings of like, I'm out of control,
Yeah.
had
Yeah. Yeah.
everything to do with my, menopause journey and the lack of awareness and the lack of sharing of this information until I hit a number age. At about 52, doctors like, it might be menopause, but you'll get over it. It'll be over soon.
Yeah, nobody really like it's like a
Yeah.
phase. You don't have to do anything. You can't do anything about it, and it's not
And
true, right?
nothing could have been more harmful
Mhm.
and more pernicious to my well-being.
Yeah.
And I was struck that here I am and I was like, well, let's check this, let's check that. Like I knew what to ask for and I got pushback. Oh, we don't need to do that. We don't test. Pardon me?
We don't
We
what?
don't test? And I had to break it down for everyone who's like wondering. I don't know if we should describe menopause, but I mean, menopause is having its day, I've noticed now that I've gone back online. Oh, I have this for menopause and I have that for menopause, and it's all about a hot flash, or
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
all about, it's more than just hot flashes, ladies. It's more than crazy periods. There is a part, it's about your head, your brain, what is chemically happening to your brain, what is chemically happening to your heart, what is
Yeah,
chemically happening to your gut, what is
yeah.
chemically happening to your metabolism. And failing to see yourself through all of these lenses leads many women down medication trails
Mhm.
that is very difficult to retract from once you start adding that medication,
Yeah.
for lack of a better, for a global summary. And so people are like, which medication? I'm like, I won't get into which medication does what.
Mhm,
Because guess what?
mhm.
It might be different for you than it is for me. Denise might have had a different experience.
Yeah,
I'm
everybody
great.
experience menopause in their own ways. Like for
Exactly.
me, like I know you talk about hot flash and moods and this and that. I didn't have any of that. Like I'm
And
one of the lucky one that just
for
sailed
sure.
through, you know?
And I think, in my research and like just what it took to feel well again, even for the women for whom there were no quote horror symptoms,
Mhm,
because
mhm.
we are obsessed as a culture about the horror symptoms, not
Yeah,
about, just what does it mean, physiologically for a woman to have no estrogen. So
yeah.
if I might have a moment to clarify for everybody, and I also have a free gift later on, you guys. you can get this. You don't have to take crazy notes. Just go to the landing page, get the guide, and check things off the list. Because truly, I if you're over 40 and you're a woman with a period still, you need this information. So get it, file it away. You can't unknow it once you know it, because this is would have been nice for me. Like, these
Yeah.
are all things, if someone had said, read about this, and I would have poo-pooed it, but the nice thing is it would have been in the back of my head, like all the good things that have happened that someone sort of mentioned. When I had a question, I was like, so and so said X, and I knew how to redirect myself to go find it. So that's what my free guide is all about. Please, please, please read it. And
Wonderful.
toss it, but then share it with another woman. We women have to tell each other about this experience, this journey of life. This last third of your life is going to be critical for you to go into it and enjoy it. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
enjoy it and be well,
Yeah.
not diseased, not bent over, not with a broken hip, not
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
heart disease or diabetes type 2 or any of these other lifestyle diseases that we become incredibly more prone to when we lose estrogen. So for me, when people go, what is menopause? I don't have a period anymore. Huh, you don't have maybe blood anymore. But what you don't have, most importantly, is you don't have estrogen anymore. You have no
Hmm.
estrogen, you have no progesterone, and you have no testosterone. And the absence of those three sex hormones does amazing things to how you show up on planet Earth.
Hmm. So
And
before we expand on that, Andrea, I
sorry.
remember like when you introduce yourself, because we could talk about that for forever.
Wow. Yeah.
And but I know when you introduce yourself, you talk about extending lifespan with the vibrant health span. So
Yeah.
what is that? So that we
Yeah.
have an overview of that
Of
part.
why I'm so passionate about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, we now in practice live longer than we ever have as
Hmm.
female human beings.
Yeah.
I think the North American average age for a woman to live until is like 81, 82. It might
Hmm.
be even a little older than that. It used to be higher, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It's gone down a little. Interesting fact. But we're going to live hopefully into our 80s, modestly. And so, but what's that quality of life? So, extended lifespan. Yes. So,
That's
we
the
have this
thing.
now
Yeah.
extended lifespan. But what is our health like in that lifespan?
Hmm.
Do we spend the final 10, 15, 20 years of our life able to do all the things we want with
Yeah.
our head intact, with our bones intact, loving our families, being there for our families, enjoying our lives? Because if that's not the goal, what is? Right? Like, what are the options?
We
Do
don't
we
want to spend the last 10 days of our life in a bed, right? Or in a
right,
wheelchair or
exactly. But so many people, I think, have a interior conversation that old age means frailty and infirmness, like, infirmity. And nothing could be weirder or further from the truth. If you travel to other countries,
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
blessed enough to live long, usually it's because you're the paradigm of health and you're vibrant and vivacious. I just lost my 88-year-old aunt last year,
Mhm, mhm.
at the very end of the year, like in November. And she was, I swear to you, I, her loss is traumatic. She was the last oldest woman in our family. She
Uh-huh.
was 88. And she, up until 6 weeks before her death, she had just gone on a cruise, guys. She'd gone
Mhm.
on a cruise. She had traveled Europe with her son and a couple of my cousins and aunts and had a time of her
Super
life.
active, yeah.
Super active. She still danced. She had just stopped driving. She's like, oh, I don't want to be bothered, whatever.
Yep,
But
yep.
she was just so vibrant, and all of us were like, can we age like that? like, and unfortunately she got a cold, or something happened, like pneumonia 2 years prior. And she had a secret killer, you know what I mean? Her lungs were damaged with the pneumonia,
Yeah, yeah.
and there was not much anyone could do. But then the next cold that came really was the
Was hard,
unknown.
yeah, much
Yeah.
harder.
And she chose what she had her plan, by the way, that's a whole other conversation about how she was going to live those last few days or last few years or whatever. And so She chose what she was going to do because she couldn't have the quality of life that she wanted. Her children all knew, and she passed away peacefully. We're
Mhm.
still sad, but she was like, I don't. She didn't want visitors seeing her sick,
Yeah,
except
yeah,
for her
yeah.
children. She was like, no, you can't come. No, sorry.
I don't
Like
want
this
you to remember me as the
as
frail,
the
dying
woman I just
person. Yeah,
described to
yeah.
you, right? And so she had what I call a vibrant health span.
Absolutely, yeah.
Vibrant, beautiful, everything any of us should really aspire to, you know? And so we can live a long time, but do you want to be, bent over? You break a hip. Statistics say that women in particular, if we fall and hurt our hip and we are 75,
Yeah.
we are likely to die within 6 years of that fall.
Oh, no.
Oh, there's a huge amount of evidence about it. And
Wow.
it's like, are you kidding me? And the older it is, the sooner you're gonna
Yeah, yeah, it
move
reduced
away
the
because you stop moving. There's a whole bunch of all the things we're supposed to do to
yeah,
be
yeah,
well
yeah.
really become true as especially as we age. It's like I'm keeping my dad moving because that's gonna keep him here
And
longer.
keep the bone strong and keep
Lungs
the
and keep the
vibrancy.
brain engaged. And so yeah, like that extended, like for me now, when people are like, are you about menopause? What are you about? I'm like, I'm about living well in a well body. Okay.
Mhm.
Whatever that takes.
Eh,
And
yeah, go ahead.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
when menopause hits, um, women get sidelined so much that the definition, the steps, the paradigm, the model that we should be as menopausal women in a well body, dismissed, ignored. Oh, it's just what happens. You're going to
Yeah.
just, be this way. And so when you see vibrant women, oh, that's an outlier. No, that's a person who took whatever steps necessary to live well and have that extended lifespan with a health span that's vibrant and things. So that is really one of the conversations I have with my clients is how do you see
Mhm.
this? And to the work that you do, how do you envision it being? Because if you can't visualize it, we can't be it.
Yeah,
So
I think it makes a big difference for people, just like you just mentioned, that if you believe people that say, "Oh, but it's normal," it's normal that you act this way. It's normal you gain weight after menopause. It's normal that you do this. It's normal because it's just the norm. And when people buy that, right? When people say, "Yeah, okay, well, it's normal that I wake up in the morning and I'm stiff. It's normal that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." Well, when you start buying that as being true for you, then that's when you start declining, right?
absolutely.
Because for me, what I want to believe is, no, it's not normal. I want to be a vibrant, energetic, old 95 years old woman, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't the numbers doesn't mean anything. Like, last November I turned 60, right? But I don't want to look ever like what the image I have of a 60 years old woman, right?
Absolutely.
And it's like I don't think I look 60,
No,
you
you
know?
don't.
Like, it's just in the mind too, the way I act, the way I see life, the way I move forward and live my life without restrictions. "Oh, I can't do that. I'm 60, come on."
Oh,
No, I don't think that way, right? I think
exactly.
more in a sense that, hey, if I really want to do this, I can do this,
Right.
right?
And it's
And
I can do it. How do I do it? How
yeah,
do I do it
exactly.
safely? How do I do it well? What are the steps? Who can
Mhm.
show me? These should be
Yeah,
the questions.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And then when I see video of, a woman, for example, that started to, like, let's say they do bodybuilding competition. I'm not gonna, it's not my goal, but when I see, let's say, a woman, she does bodybuilding competition at 75 or 80, and then, but they say she started when she was 55. And I was like, everything's possible.
I know.
Everything is possible. You can decide every day to live a different type of lifestyle. You just have to start right now. It's not,
Absolutely.
"Oh, I can do that. It's too late. I'm too old." If you think this way, then you sit back, cross your arm, and or knit and wait to die, right? So I applaud what you're doing and
Yeah.
supporting women and not only what they eat, but the way they think, the way they can move forward in their life and live life, as you said, vibrant health span,
Yes.
right?
It nothing could be more true. I it so resonates with me, like this part of the work we share in common, because
Yeah.
it is so key. And for people listening going, oh, it might be easier for you guys.
It's not easy.
I really want to, because I hear the vibes coming
Of course,
out of the computer.
of
Like,
course, of
oh, there are
course.
plenty of people going, oh, that's just you two because you're in that woo woo world and you do those
Yeah,
woo woo
yeah. I
things.
can't do that,
And
like I said.
I would say, one, ask yourself, like, what is holding you back. And to my menopausal women, you know, you might go, it was easier before. Um,
Mhm.
there's an aspect of menopause that is starting to get a little bit more press, is like what happens with your brain. And if you're like really interested, I very strongly suggest you go read a woman named Lisa Mosconi, who talks about brain health in women. And menopause has the same kind of effect on our brains like puberty had on our brains. It's a
Uh-huh.
second puberty. And so you could have physiological things that are making it hard. I'm going to sit here and say to you, making it hard for you to envision this, like
Mhm.
making it more difficult because of the lower estrogen levels in your body. The lower hormone levels will wreak havoc on your body's ability to believe and fix those neurotransmitters so you can have that get up and go.
Yeah.
So I say to you, if you're feeling like, oh, it's so for they're like whatever, you doing your thing, find
I
someone.
like that.
You know, I mean, we've all had times in our lives, at least especially when I was teenagers, like, oh, I couldn't do that. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I had to train myself to be like, yes, I can. I just don't know how yet. Like,
yeah.
it wasn't my family's cultural uh ability. They didn't imprint that on me. I have to sort of shield myself from their cultural imprint and
Mhm.
follow my own path, and what I believe that's true to me. And I think that for anyone listening, finding that path and picking that and having just faith that you can follow that,
Yeah.
don't let that little shred of maybe I could diminish you. Get help if you're having an inability to access it. We all have it.
Mhm.
If something could be interrupting your ability to access that, which would open you up to this world of
Yeah.
possibilities that we're talking about.
And
I
I
could
think and I think that could be good New Year's resolution, if
absolutely.
only just to make the decision to look at what if it's possible, right?
Exactly.
What if I could? What do I have? What would I need to change in my lifestyle in order to accommodate that new way of thinking? And
Right.
sometimes it's not huge thing. It's not like you have to change the world around. You just have to believe that it's
Sure.
possible and act as if, right? Maybe initially you wake up in the morning and you're stiff and you're, oh, I can't do it. I can't go walk for a half an hour. Well, maybe you can walk for 5
10
minutes,
minutes.
5, 10 minutes, and then, make sure that, you do 5 minutes one way and then come back. And if you can continue, well, 4 minutes one way and four back. Like, integrate these things slowly. Like the woman that did bodybuilding in her 80s or late 70s, 80s, whatever. I mean, she didn't look like that when she started in her 60s, right? She worked towards it. She ached and it was painful. And I'm sure, I can imagine, right? Like the building things that weren't there before.
Sure, for sure. Anytime you're making something
And it's
new.
the same thing with the brain. Like I'm with
Oh,
mental fitness,
absolutely.
right? Like
Oh,
building thoughts, ideas, possibility that are not there. It's gonna be painful. Your
right.
brain's not gonna hurt, but you're gonna be like hitting the wall all the time. But it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, pain, there's going to be resistance. You're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
have your own internal. I like to tell
Your
people if they're
saboteurs.
afraid of pain, I'm like, well, you're going to have some resistance. You're going to have your doubts. You're going to
Yeah,
have people telling you can't. And the only thing you're going to be sure of is your belief that you can. Like,
yeah.
and you're going to have to keep whatever you need for accountability to get people to buy in, to help
Yeah.
you keep going, or things like that. I mean, I was a crazy sleeper because I used to work in radio. So I broke my circadian clock. I just broke it. But then I needed it in menopause. I had to learn to sleep again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't sleep. Then I got COVID and I really couldn't sleep. It was like, oh, and lack of sleep will kill you or make you psychotic or
Yeah.
do
Of
any
course.
like
Of course.
it,
Yeah.
it it's if you're not sleeping, learn to sleep. So I made it a goal to learn to sleep. And I
Okay.
researched all the things that could help me sleep better. And I tried them all. I feel like
You turn them on.
I really did. But one of the ones, and what prompted me to tell this story is, changing your bedtime, get your routine together. There's so many books on sleep. The one that really makes a difference for me, and I think for most of us, because we're human organisms, is you mentioned, you can't get out of bed and do a walk. I had to see light. I had to see light pretty early in the morning, in order to tell my body when the sun set that in a few hours I was going to go to bed. And because I had spent so many years on a different clock,
Yeah.
my body didn't quite believe this until I did it over and over and
Yeah.
over again. And so I started jumping out of bed, going downstairs, having my water, waiting for like sunrise, and going for a walk to
Yeah.
see the sun come up. And I had to do it, and the goal was at a minimum 15 minutes a day. And
Yeah.
then it was like 20 minutes. And now my family's like, Mom's out for her walk. She might be back in an hour. Because now
Yeah.
I'm just like cruising, want to
It,
check
it,
out
it-
the day.
yeah, it makes a big difference.
And
And I've been telling my clients, like if you want to walk more, just walk one more minutes every day. Like it's no big deal. But at the end of the year, what's 365 minutes?
it's
Right?
awesome.
When you say 1 minute a day, it's no
Yeah.
big deal when you think about it. You just have to make the time to do 360 minutes,
Yeah.
but 3 hours, but doesn't mean you want to do 3 hours, but which mean that you can easily do half an hour, 45 minutes
Oh,
without feeling like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Right?
right. For sure. And I was struck that the weeks that I do this without fail, I
Mm.
sleep like a champ, guys.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sleep like I've never slept before, and I go, how did I miss out on years of sleep?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
now when I have an interruption to that, and the resulting feeling I have in my body, I'm like, oh, where's my walk tomorrow? Okay, I promise I'll be back. I will
Yeah.
see you, son, and
Absolutely.
you and I will get to see each other. Now, if you're like, I can't do it, I have to be at work until early, then see the sunset.
Hmm.
One or the other. Both
Yeah,
are great.
yeah, I love that. I love that idea, because I found also there's great energy. I love seeing the sunrise. Like it's something that, even this morning, because it goes up later now time, but often in the summer, like I'm an early riser when the summer, like I'm up with the sunshine and I stand in the window because where I am, I can see what is
Oh,
that? East,
that's
like the south, the northeast.
yeah.
So
Oh,
I can see from like today, the sun was rising there, so I could see the rays of sun on the trees
oh,
in front of my place. But
how
normally it
beautiful.
rise in my living room, in my kitchen, and then I just stand there and I look at it and I love it. And same thing with sunset, right? And when I went to Hawaii in September with Monica, that's all I could do is take pictures of sunset and take videos of sun setting. I find it was so wonderful.
It's so soothing to our souls.
Mhm.
We have become divorced from the need to connect to nature. So it's like a threefold. It connects you to
Yeah,
nature. It moves your body at a crucial time, and
yeah.
it resets that circadian clock. And you get an exercise. There's fourfold. Hey, it's just the thing to do. I like,
Mhm.
so yeah, we went off the rails about that, but that is one people go, give us tips. I'm like, see the sun, the
Yeah,
rising or the setting. So
yeah, yeah. And so we're coming to an end shortly. I know we could talk for an hour. And so let's go to what you just said. What is a one tip people can do to start now? Like start beside looking at the sunrise and the sunset. But but especially now in the winter, I mean, you don't have to be up for very much to see the sunrise and the
no,
sunset,
you don't
from
at all.
8:30 to 4 o'clock. But in
So
general, like what would be the thing that people can start with? What would you recommend? The new year is here, and what can people
New
start
Year's
with?
here, and and we're talking at a time where you're in the new year now, everybody. So you probably made, or you're in the process of resolutions or goal setting or whatever you want to call
Or
it.
not
I like to think,
sticking to your resolution after a week,
you
it's like,
know,
"Oh, nah, I didn't really
right.
wanna do that," you know?
I I I I tell this to my children. It's like, is there one big thing that you want
Mhm,
this year for your life? And, because it's the new year, you might have said, well, I made my list. I said, are you checking in with that list? So,
mhm,
and I want you to take the big thing, the thing that moves your heart, that says you would feel so good if you did it, and really break it down so you can do it. And I
mhm,
mean, you've listened to Denise's podcast. She's lots of great people going through talking about this simple task of organizing your time so that your heart is full.
mhm.
And so this is like the macro, and if you're lacking in an area, so what? This is a great growth opportunity.
Yeah,
And I want you to go, I don't know. But gee, I can't wait to know.
yeah,
Whatever it is, like whatever it is, because that forward energy will lead you to places and to things and experiences that your soul is really searching for.
yeah,
So, people, I think, over clinicalize health, but when you look at your health and your well being as your only job, like your only job, really, it is your only job, is taking care of yourself.
yeah.
So that you can do all the other things that you quote love. When people are like, well, I got to do that. I was like, how are you going to do it with no gas in the tank? Like, it's just,
Exactly, and that's why, go back to nutrition, right? I
yeah.
mean, that's the type of gas you put in your tank.
It's so important to say, I want whatever it is. And when you slice it all down, you want this for you. So
Mhm.
how do you make you better? Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
on there's so many levels you could approach it. So I don't want you to get overwhelmed, but the one that you call to first, like you mentioned, the woman who's in her 60s and becomes a bodybuilder in her 80s. There are a couple of really prominent ones online. And if you listen to them, they're like, I just woke up one morning and I decided enough was enough. I
Mhm.
wanted to be strong. That
Yeah.
simple. I just want to be strong. I know Denise and I are both like, I just want to be. You get to know us, you're going to really know that that is like a refrain that happens a lot.
Yeah.
So I just said it out of my mouth. I'm like, here we go. So I just
Thanks,
want
Monica.
exactly. I just want whatever it
Yeah,
is.
whatever that is.
And
And live your life towards that,
right.
right?
And it becomes very easy to do that. Like, I just wanted to sleep. I
Mhm.
I really did. And I think it took a year for me to dial in the habits to
Yeah,
make that
yeah.
so. Was I perfect every day? Heck no. Life does still get in the way. But do I have strategies and tools and
Mhm.
techniques to right myself? Yes. Was it trial and error? Yes. Am I glad I experienced them all? Yes.
Yeah, of course.
So, what do you just want for this year?
Yeah,
And you might want a lot of things, and I recommend you do them one at a time.
yeah.
Don't try to
So
do them.
so I was talking about I just want to. What I would do now is invite people to join us in 10 days at the live conference and learn what does that mean, I just want to. I just want to because we're Monica Henderson, and she was in the show several times in the last couple of years, and she created a system, a program, and that's what we're doing at the next global virtual conference. And that's when we work on, what do you want, how do you want to create it, what do you really want, I just want this, and now you'll understand the principle.
Right.
So if you're watching this later, or wait for the live to finish and then stop and rewind it and watch and type that up, and now I leave it there long enough that you have time to write it right now. and come to the conference on the 19th, so in 11 days, and check it out and learn how you can create those new habits and those new vision of yourself and the things you want to accomplish in your life. So I hope you had time to write that down. So I invite you to join us. Andrea, I don't know, she might jump in. I just talked to her and she said, "Oh,
I'm around. Yeah, like,
she's
you know,
around California." I'll
I
be in California actually for that. Like we're it's
that's awesome.
usually we do it all virtual, but then I call Monica and I say, "Hey, I could be in town." And she said, "Yeah, come on down. That'll be fun." So I'll
It
be
was
on my own little box on my screen, but I'll be right beside Monica and
the
Peggy.
cast members,
Yeah,
Monica,
the cast member. Yeah.
Peggy.
So you have people can reach you. So let's check that out. So how can people reach you?
So there's the imtr.bio Wellbeing and Worth. That's my company. It's like a little link tree, and hopefully we can also put it in the comments of
Yes, we will. Yeah.
this thing. And you click on it, and it gives you. You can learn more about me, sort of what fuels me and why I'm so passionate about these things. You can get my free guide that we're talking about on, like, I call it the perimenopause menopause 101 primer, and it really just sort of breaks down, where you are, what this phase of life really needs to be seen as, and then how
Hmm.
to act accordingly from it. And last but not least, there's a link to just click and say, I just want to talk to you, chick. And we can
Perfect.
get
Perfect.
connected.
People can reach
We can
you
get
there
connected. So
too.
all the things are right through that link. And I would love to, for anyone who is searching, not for anyone, for women in particular.
Yeah,
Guys, I do help men. I don't want to say that, but my passion is these days, and I
of
need
course.
more warriors lockstep with me to change and reframe how women see 40
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. That
we're
makes a
doing
huge
ourselves
difference.
Yeah, we're doing ourselves a really grave disservice by not rewriting what that looks like. And
Hmm.
in North America, because we're obsessed with youth, women over 40 slowly get disenfranchised and are disenfranchised because their body's changing, their minds are changing, their wants are changing.
Yeah.
And we need to know that's normal. And there are things you can do to make 40 plus all the way to the very end, because that's where menopause takes you. Like I
Yeah.
said, the last third. So, women, let's unite in this. Be curious about your
Yeah.
body. 40. Be curious. And I am here as an ally, a guide, a docent to help you get what you need to live your best life with that
Yeah.
beautiful, vibrant health span so you thrive.
That's awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Andrea. I mean,
My pleasure.
I hope people took notes. And as you said, don't take notes, just download my free guide. But taking notes is okay too. But
Exactly.
it's so important to, and I keep saying that almost at every guest that are here. It's like the most important is awareness. So become aware what's going on in your body, right?
Yeah.
And make a decision. Now it's a new year. Make a decision of where you want to be. I just want to, and show up for the conference on the 19th and build your future, build your life, and you'll see it's amazing. So
Yeah.
thank you so much,
Thank
Andrea. It's good
you.
to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It
My
was delightful, like always. Thank you.
Thank you. So just stay there. I'll be right back with you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and mostly ladies today, I hope you really enjoy this show. Andrea is pretty amazing with, especially like it's funny because with her newfound discoveries of what some of her clients were experiencing, and say, "Oh, now I understand." Because once you walk this step, it's like, "Oh, that's what they were experiencing." Because you don't know until you've done it yourself. So now she's well equipped to support women 40 and over to age gracefully, all the way to the second third of their life, and maybe, yeah, even more than the third, like the second half of their life. Like you live 40, you can live 80, 90s, bring it on. So again, I will remind you, oh, I have a guest for you too, because as the new year start, there's a lot of things that are changing in our life, and sometimes we make decision that makes us in a situation where there's so many changes that we don't know how to handle those changes. It could be the kids that have left the house. It could be a separation, a divorce. It could be the loss of a loved one. And what I've created is a starting over checklist that will support you in giving you ideas of how to move forward in moment of a little bit of loss, but it doesn't have to be death. It could be like just a kid leaving the house. It's like, no, what do I do? Like I lost my identity. I'm not a mom anymore because nobody needs me in the house. So check it out. It's the starting over checklist with the bit.ly/ starting over checklist. And again, subscribe to my YouTube channel for all the amazing interview that I've done over the last 2.5 years. I would love to have you to come and subscribe and watch some of the videos or all of them, better than Netflix at some point. And book a call with me if you want to either be on the show or if you have question about different things that I might have said that trigger your attention. Say, oh, I'd like to know more about that. Book a call with me. I'd love to. So until next time, be kind to one another. Come and see us at the conference in 11 days and the global virtual conference at blah, 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 blah. Type that up and it will be in the show note. If you go to YouTube, it will be in the description of the YouTube channel. So it should be on YouTube in about an hour. So go check it out. And I look forward to getting in touch with you. Don't be shy. So until next time, be kind to one another and have an amazing week.